네, 안녕하세요, 여러분. jetbrains 코드 with me로 함께 코딩할까요? 시즌 2 웨비나에 오신 많은 여러분들 대단히 환영합니다. 오늘은 이제 지난 시즌 1 이후에 많은 이제 관심들이 코드 with me에 있는 것을 또 확인을 하고 저희가 시즌 2를 또 야심차게 준비를 해봤습니다. 시즌 2에는 이제 온프레미스 버전의 코드 with me가 출시됨으로써 좀 더 온프레미스에서 또 어떻게 기업에서 활용할 수 있는지에 대해서 내용을 좀 많이 준비를 했고요. 저는 이제 jetbrains 총판 단구 소프트의 김우성이라고 합니다. 사전에 이제 공지된 대로 그 유튜브로 첫 이제 영상을 라이브로 공개하는 거고요. 이 공개 영상이 끝난 이후에는 Q&A를 위해서 jetbrains 직원들 3분이서 이제 참석해서 여러분들의 질문에 답변을 좀 해드릴 예정입니다. 네. 그리고 이제 해당 세션 이후에 바로 이제 유튜브에서 또 라이브 세션 이후에 녹화된 내용들을 또 확인하실 수 있으니까요. 참고 부탁드립니다. 네, 자막과 통역은 이제 Q&A 쪽에서는 저희가 제공을 드리지 못하고 사전 녹화된 부분은 이제 자막을 통해서 여러분들이 이해할 수 있는 한국어로 확인을 하실 수 있습니다. 그래서 이제 여러 가지 질문들이 있으신 경우에는 중간중간에 채팅창에 남겨주시면은 저희가 취합해서 후반부에 이제 질문에 대한 답변을 모두 드릴 예정이고요. 해당 영상은 저희 한 27분, 30여 분 정도로 이제 녹화되어 있기 때문에 같이 한번 감상을 해보고 돌아오도록 하겠습니다. 그럼
Hello everybody, thank you for joining. My name is Matt and I am a developer advocate at JetBrains, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Code With Me. This is our collaborative editing tool. You might have previously seen a webinar we did a little while ago which introduced Code With Me. Today we're going to have a look at a specific set of things. That video is still available on YouTube. You can still go off and download it and have a look and see what's going on. But today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. Firstly, in case you haven't seen Code With Me, a quick introduction. It's our collaborative editing tool for nearly all of our JetBrains IDEs. It works pretty much across all of the IDEs. So Intellij Idea for Java, WebStorm for web technologies, RubyMine, PyCharm, and so on. A couple of IDEs it doesn't quite work on yet is Android Studio and Rider. Android Studio currently has an early bird version available for testing, and Rider we're hoping to get ready by the end of the year. It was bundled with the 2021.1 set of releases, which means it's there available for you to use right now. The toolbar button is just there. You can click the button and get started. And the whole point of it is for sort of pair programming, really, but not just pair programming. It's not just for one or two people. You can have up to 100 people joining a session at any time, and you can all be working collaboratively on the same code base. And it's not just programming as well. It's the entire development lifecycle as well, with debugging, testing, and everything. We also include tools such as audio and video chat, and also, very importantly, screen sharing facilities. And there's a huge amount of rich IDE functionality in there as well. It's not just sort of collaborating on text. You get all the sort of functionality that you'd expect with a JetBrains IDE, from the navigation to the project view to the code completion to inspections and highlights and Alt-Enter as well there. So it's a very rich tool for working with collaboratively. Very important point is that the guest doesn't require anything on their own machine. They don't have to get a copy of the source code. They don't have to have the right compiler set up, the right tools and everything. All the work you do works on the host machine itself. All the client requires is a lightweight, thin client, which is downloaded when you click the link to join a session. Now, the second part of what we want to talk about today, though, is the Code With Me Enterprise, the on-premises solution. So normally when you use Code With Me, you're arranging a session, you're downloading a client, you're proxying traffic. All of these things happen through JetBrains servers. But the enterprise version of Code With Me allows you to host these servers on your own network. So you can have those on a private network. And there might be several reasons for doing this. It might be a company policy. You might have an isolated network which wouldn't be able to reach the JetBrains servers. Or it might just be a desire to keep all of your traffic internal. We're going to have a look at this in a bit more detail today. Okay, so let's have a quick look at a demo of Code With Me in action. If you haven't seen it before, I'll just show you a few of the interesting things. And again, there's a video we've got previously is available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which you can show, and we'll show things more in depth. So here on my screen, I have a version of Intellij Idea. I'm going to use IDEA right now and a Kotlin-based project, but it works with all of the IDEs and a whole bunch of different programming languages, so you can use it for whatever you want. And we have the toolbar button up in the top of the toolbar here, which allows us to create a link. So if I just sort of quickly zoom in on that, we've got this enable access and copy invitation link. What I need to do is click that, and I now get a dialog allowing me to start a session. We've paid a lot of attention to security here, and so you've got permissions which you can set. You can have the whole thing as read-only, so that your guests can only view what's going on there, all the way through to full access, which means editing files and so on. We can even sort of configure things here too. So we can edit files, hide files, allow people access to your terminal, or viewer-only access to the terminal, working with run and debug, and so on. We've also got an option here to be able to automatically start a voice call. So I click the enable access button there, and we get a link copied to the clipboard, and I can send it now to the people who want to join. If I just paste that into a browser over on my other screen now, I'm going to start joining the session. Now, Code With Me as a collaborative tool is rather tricky to demo, so I'm actually going to do it on the same machine here, but everything works exactly the same if you're on multiple machines. Now you can see on the right-hand side of my screen, we've got a dialog of the client waiting to join, and this is a small security feature we've got here as well. We've got a security code, which is cryptographically generated. We've got 4109. If we look at the host, we see that somebody's trying to join the session, and we've got a security code 4109. So we know there that the session is encrypted and it is not being snooped on, and we can allow our guest to join. And we can see now we've got two instances of the IDE side by side. We've got a version of Intellij Idea on the left. In the light theme, this is the host. This is the person who owns all of the code. The dark theme on the right is our thin client. And this was a very quick download. It's about 100 megabytes, and it gives you everything you need to work with Code With Me. And you can see we don't need to check out any code, but we've got a full view of the project, and we can see all the files that are available there. I just stretch that out a little bit, and we get syntax highlighting as well, and we can go to navigation. We can go and view classes there, and shift will work and find us our actual fields. There it is. So I can navigate to field. And then I could navigate to, say, terminal. That will take me to the class called terminal. There it is, my super terminal. And once in there, I can use the other features such as navigating around to jump to different methods within that. So we've got sort of rich navigation, and we can view a whole load of things going on there. But before we look at too much more code, I just want to show the Code With Me tool window we've got down the side here. Now this is our chat window, and this is where we can do our voice and audio chats. And we can also do a text chat as well. So if I do hello from guest, we should see there's a message just popped up on the host on the left-hand side there to show we've got a text message going on there. And I can open the code window, the Code With Me window here, and reply back from either side there. We can also do voice and video chat here as well. Let me see if I can join that. And there we go. We can see me. If I close that window there, we can see me joining the chat there as well. And the other thing we can do is to share the screen as well. So if I click on the share screen button, and if I can just resize this one. There it is. Nope. There we go. If I resize that now, I can see that I'm sharing the screen as well. So we get to view chat with people, do video chat, and also view the screen there too. So let's have another quick look at some code. So if I go back to the field class here, one of the really nice features that we've got with Code With Me, in fact, before we do that, the basics, if we start typing in one side, we're going to see it in the other. So if I jump to field on both sides there, if I'm in the client, if I start typing, we can see it now there. So if I do hello from guest, we can see that this is happening in the client. If I switch back to the host, I can type hello from host, and we can see that this is immediately sort of synchronized and copied across. And of course, we've got all the features you'd expect, such as code completion, and we can navigate around and complete code there. If I switch back to the host, to the guest, then of course I've got code completion here too, and I can edit and delete things and work with code there just as you would normally and get all the rich functionality. It's not just it's not just Kotlin code that we've got available to us there as well. We've got that's what I want. We can do things like look at Markdown Files. So whatever language supports your IDE has built in, then that works with Code With Me as well. So again, we can do excuse me, things like my website here, and if we do go to JetBrains.com, then you can see we've got proper rich syntax highlighting. If I come back over to the readme.md file on the host, then obviously that's been copied across as well. And just briefly, there's a whole load of things I could show for Code With Me. If I just go and find a HTML file here, there it is, index.html. We've got syntax highlighting for HTML within a Kotlin project. We've also got inspections as well. So if I hover over the image tag there, we can see we've got an inspection saying we've got a missing required alt tag. If I use Alt-Enter, I can do to automatically insert the alt tag, and then I can sort of describe my image here as well. So we've got support for inspections and Alt-Enter running in the client, in the guest, against the code, against the host as well. So the final thing to show today is if I switch over to the field test class here, if I click that and click run, we can see that the IDE has automatically recognized that the guest IDE has recognized that this is a test class. It's given me the gutter icons to click on there, and I can click on that, I can run, and we can see in the host there, it's compiled the code because we made some changes, and it's run the tests there too. So this is a great way of being able to do collaborative work. One person could be writing the code while another person is actually writing the tests to go with it. So there is a lot more I could show with Code With Me, but that's a very quick overview there. If you want to find some more information, as I said, I've got a more in-depth introduction to Code With Me on our YouTube channel, jetbrains.tv will get you there. And just to talk a little bit of what we've got in the new version. So it was released in 2021.1, some new features for 2021.2. We've introduced screen sharing, as you can see there, which is a great way to be able to see what's happening. If you're building an application, you can see what's happening with it on the host machine. We also support port forwarding now as well. So if you're building applications which need to expose ports, those can be forwarded and proxied across the connection to the guests, which is very useful. If you're using Python, then the packages and console tool windows are now shared. And we've also now started to bundle Code With Me with AppCode itself. And as I say, we've got an early bird test version for Android Studio, and we're working on the Rider version. Of course, there's been plenty of technical improvements under the covers as well. We've reworked some of the undo logic to make that a little bit more sensible in places and stop falling over each other. And with the on-premises servers, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, we've added some proxy authentication in that. So, as I say, to get some more information there, it's a very quick overview of what Code With Me can deliver. We've got some great help pages and some videos as well from our landing page there. Short link, jb.gg/cwm for Code With Me. That'll take you to our landing page with lots of useful links. And the JetBrains.tv link will take us to our YouTube channel, where we've got various webinars as well, where we've been discussing Code With Me too. Okay, so I want to move on to the next part of today's topic. We can talk about Code With Me Enterprise and the on-premises solution. So what this allows you to do is to run your own servers to allow you to work with Code With Me. So when Code With Me needs to connect to sort out a session, to arrange a session, it uses JetBrains servers to do that, to arrange all of that. What you can do is actually run your own servers and have those in your own network. And you can do that for a variety of reasons. It might be company policy. It might be to keep traffic internal. You might be working with an isolated network. But whatever it is, you can actually host all of these servers internally, and you get the same features as if JetBrains were hosting it, plus a couple of extra options as well. So there's some small configurations you can do to work with that. It's a licensed product. We work with floating licenses, so they are shared across developers. We have a 30-day trial as well. So if you'd like to try it out with your own network and your own company, you can very easily and quickly sign up for a 30-day trial. There's a link on the website. It's really quick and easy to set up and download. And we've also got then a quick setup package to take you through building an evaluation version to test with. And there's also lots of great help content then for getting a full deployment up and running. So what are the components then of the on-premises server? What do I mean when I'm talking about this? We've got a few different servers involved with Code With Me. The first one is the lobby server. This is responsible for creating a session, for managing sessions. So when I click the toolbar button to start a session, we talk to the lobby server, it checks the licensing, it generates the session and creates a link. I can then send that to the guest. The guest joins and they join through the lobby server and everything works out normally. Once my session is complete, the lobby server will then release the license back to the pool. We've also got a relay server. So Code With Me has a couple of different ways of communicating between the host and the guest. We try and pick the most appropriate one. So if possible, we will use a direct peer-to-peer connection. But if that's not possible, or if it's been disabled, then we can actually talk through a relay server. So we have JetBrains relay servers set up, configured around the world, and the traffic will encrypted go through those servers. You can host those in your own network as well. And again, you can also distribute those geographically so that we are always talking to the most appropriate servers. We have a local storage component as well. This is a storage place for where you can download clients from. So when I click a link and join a session, I'm actually downloading a thin client, which is about 100 megabytes or so, to get me up and running and to connect to the session. These clients are downloaded from JetBrains CDNs by default. With on-premises, you can then have that done locally as well. So you can have them downloaded and stored locally to the lobby server, and the lobby server can serve those, or you can publish them to your own web server, and the lobby server can point the client to there. Telephony is used for our voice and video calls. We don't actually build our own telephony service there. We're using the Jitsi framework. It's an open source platform, well regarded, well used, and we make use of that. We don't provide an installation for that. You can set that up how you want to. So you can use existing infrastructure, either within or external to your company, or you can disable it completely and have audio and video chats through some other means, through an external application. We also need to have an SSL front end. So the lobby server and relay server by default don't have SSL. So you want to be able to wrap that traffic in that using an SSL front end like Nginx or Apache or whatever. And finally, we've got an optional component then of a Redis server for persistent storage for your sessions. So this is persistent storage for the sessions that the lobby server creates. and it means that sessions can persist across the lobby server being restarted. You get a couple of options when you install an on-premises server. So you can distribute your servers geographically and set that up so that we will then connect to the most appropriate location. You get the choice to disable peer-to-peer traffic or have it so that clients can talk directly to the host. And there's an option as well to hide project or usernames before you join a session, so there to sort of try and minimize some kind of information disclosure if you require it. As I say, this is a licensed product. It's a floating license, which means it's shared between host users. So any license that isn't currently being used is put back into a pool and is available to be used by other developers. You have one session per host user there. So if I'm a host and I'm starting a session, I require a license for that. The set of licenses start at number 10 and work up. And then once you've got a session going, that session can include up to 100 guests. So guests don't need a license. They can just join in any session. As long as they've got the link and the access to the network, then they're allowed to join the session. So we have a quick setup for evaluating this. So this is great for evaluation. It's a single package which you download. It's a single tar file. You download it. It's got the servers. It's got a script, and it's very quick and easy to get up and running. We do not recommend this to be installed to use this to set up a production deployment. It's the same components. However, it's not configured for a proper deployment there. So there's no SSL setup by default. We've got no local storage configured as part of the script, which means you'll still be talking to the JetBrains CDN to download clients. And there's no telephony server for video and audio chats set up. Instead, it'll run the lobby and relay servers locally with an in-memory config there. So again, we don't know quite how you want to deploy things, where what servers should be deployed where. And so the quick setup one is just a great way of evaluating and trying out Code With Me Enterprise. It still requires a license key, however. Once you're ready to go with a full setup, it's very straightforward to deploy there. It's the same components, but it's just deployed as per your company policy. So you can sort of position them how you want, put them geographically distributed if required, and so on. We provide Docker Compose, Kubernetes, and Helm charts, and so on. Lots of examples and documentation as well as how to get that up and running. You've also got a couple of different ways of working with the full set as well. You can have it in full or half offline mode. Full offline mode means that the clients are downloaded from local storage rather than JetBrains servers. So we have the mirror script then, which allows you to automatically populate your local storage with JetBrains, with the clients from the JetBrains servers. Okay, let's have a quick look at some of the web pages we have available. If I just grab a browser and pull that over here. If I go to jb.gg/cwm, that'll take us to our Code With Me landing page here. Lots of great content which we've got available here. There's some videos to help you get going. There's links to webinars, and there's lots of some really good documentation as well. So links to our What's New at the top here, link to our resources for documentation, and the on-premises solution then will take us to the links to provide a bit more information for the on-premises. We've got the link here to sign up for the 30-day trial. You simply fill in a form and we'll send you a license key. Contact link there as well. And then finally, we've got the distributions down here. So there's the links then to download the different things that we require. If we're using the quick setup launcher, then we can just download this one here. Other than that, we've got different distributions for the main components themselves. And finally, we've got some information about licensing and knowledge base, and also a link to the documentation there. So we've got the architecture overview and on-premises quick setup guide, and some documentation here to help you get up and running with on-premises. Okay, let's just switch back to some slides there. To walk through the process of quick setup is very straightforward. You just need to copy that link that I've just shown you there from the web page there to the quick setup launcher. You then need to get to your server where you're going to deploy this. So SSH over to that server. Use wget or whatever to download the actual package itself, the tar.gzip file. And once you've got that, then untar it, and you should then have a folder. Code With Me Quick Setup 1614 here is the version of the package that we've got at the moment. But that is the folder then that will contain everything. You need to copy the license key into that folder. So here we can see it being copied from the downloads folder onto the server and into the Code With Me Quick Setup folder there. And that means then you're left with a folder that looks rather like this. We've got a lobby folder, a relay folder, a license.key, and our launch.sh script. To get everything up and running, you just run the script, you pass in the IP address of the server and the location of the key itself, and that's it. The servers will start up and you'll be ready to go. As part of the output, you will see some information about what's going on here. You will see the URL of the server itself, the IP address and the port 2093, which of course will need to be opened with your various firewalls and things. But there's some other useful information here as well. We get to see the features that are enabled here. So direct TCP, so peer-to-peer connections are available. We're allowed to view project names and usernames. We can see that that local storage is not set up. So it's going to download the clients from the JetBrains CDN. And we can see things like the Redis server is not set up here either. So we can see that this is our quick setup evaluation version running. So you want to grab that URL and copy it to your clipboard. Very important to point out as well that that's HTTP. It's not got SSL there. So you would want to set that up behind an SSL front end and use the front end as your URL. Once you have that URL, you then can paste it into the lobby server URL config page in the IDE itself, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Once you click OK, if you try and start a session now, then Code With Me will be talking to your lobby server, and that's all you need to do. However, that's not necessarily very convenient. You don't want all of your developers to have to copy paste the URL into the IDE settings. So we have some config which you can set on the machine, either system-defined config or user-defined config as well. So obviously user-defined config, the user could change it themselves. So it might be more useful to put it into the local machine storage. On Windows, we've got a registry key you can set. On Linux and Mac, we've got config files that you can set and put in appropriate locations. So that brings me to the end of everything I want to show you right now. I just want to say thank you for watching. We've had a brief introduction to Code With Me and what it can do. Again, there's lots more I can talk about with that. JetBrains.tv will have links to the previous webinars we've done with more in-depth views. And we've also had a quick look at the enterprise features there, the on-premises, and how you would go about setting that up, why and what those components are. That's it for the presentation now. I think we've got time for some questions and answers. So thank you for watching.
네, 영상 잘 보셨는지 모르겠습니다. 네, 오늘 이제 바로 Q&A를 진행해 주실 세 분의 이제 jetbrainer들이 모여 있습니다. 한 분씩 먼저 소개를 진행하고 Q&A를 시작하겠습니다. Yes, we have Matt. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself one more time to the...
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the guy in the video you've just seen. I'm a developer advocate, and yeah, hello.
네, Matt은 방금 이제 발표를 진행했던 연사였고요. 또 이제 디벨로퍼 어드보케이트 팀의 멤버이기도 합니다. Next up, Gyulnara, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Gyulnara. I'm technical support here, and I'm ready to help you with some on-premises related questions. So feel free.
네, Gyulnara 씨는 이제 기술 지원을 주로 하시는 업무를 하시고요. jetbrain에서 원격 개발 도구도 출시된다고 하니까 그런 제품도 이제 기대가 되는 부분이 있습니다. Next up, Ekaterina. Hello.
Hey guys, nice to see everyone here. I'm Ekaterina. I'm a product marketing manager at Code With Me and remote development projects. And here we'll be covering all the general question about Code With Me, on premises, of course, and not only.
네, 우리 이카트리나님은 이제 코드 위드 미의 프로덕트 마케팅 매니저로서 활동을 하고 계신 분입니다. 그러면 뭐 바로 사전에 받았던 질문들과 함께 저희가 Q&A를 좀 진행을 해보도록 하겠습니다. So we're going straight into the questions. There's one question on the top. Would it be possible to add users who have read-only permission and don't have write code? 네, 이번 질문은 코드 작성을 하지 않는 뷰어 권한만 있는 사용자를 추가할 수 있을까요? 라는 질문이 있었습니다. 아마 Matt이랑 먼저 좀 시작을 해볼 텐데, Matt, do you want to answer the question number one?
Yeah, sure. The answer is yes, of course. As a host, you can configure what new guests can access and can do on your machine, on the host machine. For example, you can specify whether the guests can edit files, use the terminal or not, and execute code and debug code. You can also enable and disable the voice call option. And the permissions themselves can be configured for the whole session before everything starts, or you can change permissions for specific guests in the session as well.
네,
And also I can add, also I can add that if you host on-premises version with a lobby server and release inside your company, as administrator, you can disable some features even on this level. So users, for example, who connect to lobby with disabled voice call, they won't be able to even start it, regardless if they want or not to change permissions, because it's disabled on the administrator level. So for on-premises version, we have some options to configure on start step.
네, 먼저 이제 맷이 얘기해 주는 내용을 좀 더 요약을 먼저 해드리겠습니다. 이제 뭐 호스트로서 이제 새로운 게스트 참여자가 기기에 접근을 하지 못할 시에 권한 설정을 이제 할 수가 있는데요. 예를 들어서 구체적으로 게스트가 파일을 편집할 수 있는지, 터미널을 뭐 사용할 수 있는지, 코드를 입력할 수 있는지 이러한 권한 레벨들을 설정을 하고 초대를 하실 수가 있습니다. 또한 이제 음성 전화 여부도 이제 설정을 하실 수가 있고요. 이러한 이제 권한들은 전체 이제 세션 참여자를 대상으로 설정하거나 또 이제 세션 내에 특정 게스트만을 대상으로 또 설정을 할 수 있기 때문에 권한은 좀 유연하게 할 수 있다고 말씀드릴 수 있고, 굴나라님이 이제 답변을 해주신 거는 온프레미스에는 좀 더 이제 더 많은 권한 레벨들이 있다라고 좀 말씀을 해주시면서 설명을 주셨어요. 왜냐하면 이제 더 안전하게 이제 사용할 수 있는 부분을 강조해 주셨어요. 이제 방화벽 아래에 이제 SSH 키를 이제 인증을 받아야만 이제 접속을 할 수 있거나 뭐 그런 내용들을 같이 말씀을 해주셨습니다. Okay, anything else you want to add to this question, Ekaterina?
No, we can move on. We have more questions.
Nice. Next question is about VPN. Pretty similar question, but let's go through it. 네, 질문이 있는데요. 이제 다음 질문은 회사 VPN 사용 중에 코드 위드 미 사용 시 보안 안정성이 궁금합니다. 라는 이제 질문을 남겨주셨어요. 이 질문에 대해서 질문의 의도에 대해서 이제 내부적으로 좀 얘기는 해봤었는데 어쨌든 결과적인 내용들을 좀 여쭤보도록 하겠습니다. So next question is around, I'm wondering about the security and stability when I use Code With Me while connect in the VPN environment. Maybe Gyulnara?
There's nothing specific in connecting to something in VPN or directly. Just to be sure you can reach lobby server and relays, because when you create a session, it goes to lobby to create the join link. Then your request will be redirected to guest to join. And of course, if someone among participants cannot connect one of these addresses, there will be connection timeout. So if you're going to use the solution inside corporate network, just ask your system administrators team if you have some specific VPN settings.
오케이. 네, 이제 좀 요약을 해드리자면, jetbrains 측의 이제 코드 위드 미는 특별히 이제 VPN 관련해서 별도로 뭔가 구성하는 기능들은 없습니다. 다만 이제 접근을 하는 데 있어서 방화벽이던 이제 그 네트워크 상태에 따라서 접근이 만약에 안 된다면 사내 이제 접근에 대해서 이제 보안 예외 처리 이런 것들을 요청을 해야만 접근이 가능할 것으로 보이고요. 이렇게 온프레미스 버전을 온프렘 버전을 사용하는 거는 이런 사내의 이제 중요한 코드 자산들이 외부로 유출되지 않게끔 이제 하는 거기 때문에 그런 좀 자유롭게 이제 링크를 링크는 공유할 수 있지만 접속이 안 되는 상황이 있을 수는 있습니다. 그거는 이제 보안상 문제가 있다면 이제 보안팀의 그 내부 보안팀에서 해결해야 되는 문제가 대부분일 것이고, 코드 위드 미는 이제 그 브라우저 링크를 통해서 네트워크만 연결이 된다면 문제 없이 작동을 할 거다라고 답변을 해주셨습니다. Next question, 다음 질문으로 넘어가겠습니다. Next question is about Rider. 네, 라이더는 언제 코드 위드 미가 지원될까요? 라는 질문이 있었습니다. So when can I use Code With Me in Rider is the question. Ekaterina, you have been waiting for long. Can you answer this?
Well, first of all, we have to announce that we really love Rider community and really appreciate their push because this, first of all, motivates our team to do new features. And we have really good news for Rider users because they can access Code With Me functionality pretty soon. Our team now aims to release Code With Me support for Rider with the closest, biggest release of this IDE. So it will be happening somewhere by the end of November or the beginning of December. And of course, if you would like to see how it looks like, you can visit our Twitter account where we have some nice spoiler from Dev Advocate team who shows how it looks right now. So please follow us on Twitter and you will be updated regarding all our releases, including Rider, of course.
네, 일단 이카트리아님 이 답변을 라이더 코드 위드 미에 대해서 해주셨는데, 라이더도 이제 지금 다른 ID들이 대부분 이제 되는데 라이더만 좀 안 되고 있어서 많이 아쉬워하는 고객분들의 소리가 여러 번 있었습니다. 그런데 이제 jetbrains도 당연히 라이더를 많이 챙기고 있고 좋아한다고 하는데, 현재 이제 라이더 ID에는 이제 아마 11월에서 12월 이제 그때쯤 제 생각에는 이제 메이저 릴리스가 대부분 있을 예정인데, 그때 아마 라이더 버전이 이제 출시가 될 것이고 될 것으로 보입니다. 그리고 이제 그 스포일러 영상들이 있대요. 이제 그 jetbrains 담당자들이 이제 좀 포스팅해둔 트위터에 있는데, 트위터에 라이더를 좀 검색해 보시면 그런 영상들을 또 볼 수가 있다고 하니까 많이 궁금하신 분들은 트위터에서 한번 검색을 해보시는 걸 권장을 드리겠습니다. Next, 다음 질문으로 넘어가겠습니다. jetbrains IDE가 없는 사용자에게도 로컬 이제 온프레미스 서버 등 이제 URL 형태로 그쪽에서 스트리밍, 그러니까 이제 같이 그 코드를 공유할 수 있는지 여쭤보는 질문이 있었습니다. Yes, we did come up with a question around where, in case of the Code With Me on-premises version, can the host invite the guests with the invitation link from the internal private network? I think Matt, would you be able to answer this one?
Yeah, sure. The answer really is that depends on how the network is configured. So we don't control or care how the link is shared. So you can share the link to anybody over Slack or Messenger or whatever. However, the guest has to have permissions to be able to access the network.
네, 좀 요약을 하자면 이제 네트워크만 이제 내부망에서 외부망으로 연결을 만약에 하는 거라면 이제 네트워크만 연결이 되면 어디든 이제 연결할 수 있을 거고 문제는 이제 네, 네트워크만 해결하면 된다는 내용이고요. Anyone else want to add to this question? 네, 링크가 있으면 어디든 다 공유가 가능합니다. 그래서 큰 온프레미스에서 외부로도 공유할 수 있고 당연히 이제 방화벽 아래 이제 내부망인 경우에는 다른 이제 네트워크 설정들을 할 필요 없이 가능할 거고요. 네, 다음 질문으로 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. Next question is about Android Studio. 안드로이드 스튜디오도 코드 위드 미 플러그인이 있는지 여쭤보시는 분이 있었습니다. Does Android Studio also have Code With Me plugin? Is the next question. Will suit Ekaterina.
Yes, thank you for your interest in expanding functionality of Code With Me. We have pretty good progress here because making Code With Me compatible with Android Studio has been one of our strategic priority. And we're really happy to announce that Code With Me plugin is now available for Android Studio Bumblebee. It's important. It's just working with this edition. And it's still quite a beta. And though we got many positive reviews from the first users, it still needs some time to be developed. So if you're working as the Android developer, please give it a try and share your thoughts and suggestions with us, because that's how we develop our product.
네, 아마 굉장히 이 질문에 대해서 되게 반가워하시는데 이제 안드로이드 스튜디오 결과적으로 이제 범블비 에디션의 베타 버전으로 출시된다는 내용이고요. 네. 예. 그래서 이제 베타 버전이기 때문에 지금 이카트리나 님이 이제 피드백을 좀 많이 필요하다고 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 그래서 꼭 안드로이드 개발자 분이시면 한번 시도를 해보시고 뭐 아이디어나 문제가 있을 경우에는 네, 이카트리나 님의 연락처가 아마 그 해당 세션 끝나고 공개가 될 예정이에요. 네, 그쪽으로 연락을 직접 해주셔도 되고 당구소프트를 통해서 피드백을 전달을 할 수 있으니까요. 언제든지 연락 부탁드리겠습니다. 네. Next question. 다음 질문으로 넘어가겠습니다. 이거 만약 호스트 서버에 도커로 생성한 MySQL에 커넥션 하고 싶다고 한다면 게스트에서 볼 수 있나요? 네. So next question is, if you want to connect to MySQL created with Docker in the host server, can the guest connect as well?
Currently, we don't support yet database tools and integration with, for example, the group is not ready yet, but we are working on it, and it's one of the priority issue for the next release. But no databases for product ready version right now, sir.
네, 뭐 좀 아쉬운 답변이었지만 데이터베이스 연동 지원은 아직 하지 않고 있기 때문에 좀 어려운 상황인 것 같고요. 데이터 그립에 대한 이제 지원도 지금 열심히 개발 중이라고 합니다. 그래서 뭐 언제라고 이제 말씀은 안 해주셨지만 향후에 뭐 DB를 수정하고 만들 수 있는 그런 데이터 그립까지도 연동이 된다면 가능하게 되지 않을까 일단 그렇게 예상해 볼 수 있겠습니다. 질문들이 계속 쭉쭉 들어오는 것 같아요. 네. 또 다음 질문으로 넘어가 보도록 하겠습니다. 최근에 인텔리제이로 코드 위드미 해봤는데 DB 쿼리 창은 안 보이던데 설정을 따로 해주면 보이나요? So next question is, I recently tried Code With Me in Intellij Idea, but the DB query window was not visible. Can I see it if I configure it somewhere? Does anybody have idea?
I'll jump into that one. That's very similar to the previous question, really, in that the database tools that we have, we haven't kind of ported all of those across yet. They're not fully available within Code With Me. Right now, you can't configure it separately in the client, but you could try and connect to the database directly using another tool such as a standalone version of DataGrip. The Code With Me supports port forwarding, so you might be able to forward the port from the server that you're using as the host and connect to it then at the client end, but on a different tool.
네, 일단 아까 답변 드렸던 그 내용과 유사하게도 DB 연동은 지원드리지 않고 있어서 지금은 해당 기능이 이제 사용할 수는 없는데요. 다만 포트 포워딩 등의 이제 기능을 통해서 사용할 수 있지 않을까 이런 힌트를 좀 주셨어요. 그리고 이제 네, 아직은 일단은 공식적으로는 되지 않는 걸로 확인해 주실 수 있겠습니다. 네. Next question. Question is a bit long. 리소스 사용에 대해 궁금합니다. 가끔 맥북에서 코딩하다 보면 여러 창을 띄워놓으면 리소스를 많이 먹는데 호스트와 게스트가 사용하는 리소스가 다른지 여쭤보네요. 그리고 또 예를 들면 호스트는 좀 더 헤비하게 리소스를 사용하고 게스트는 가볍게 사용한다든지 내부적인 이제 코드 위드미의 메커니즘에 대한 이해도가 낮아서 한번 질문해 봅니다라고 좋은 질문을 주신 분이 있습니다. Next question is about the resource usage between the host and guests. So this I have a question regarding resource usage when I code on MacBook. It takes many resources if I open many windows, but then does resource usage from hosts and guests are different? For example, hosts may require more resource than the guests. This guy wants to know about the mechanism of Code With Me, about the usage of the resources.
Sure. So the host does all of the work, basically. So if you have a lot of connections with the host and the guests are doing a lot of work, all of that happens on the host. So the host can use more resources in that scenario. When if you're just using a guest and you're connecting from a MacBook, the resource usage should be light there, and it should be okay. I use a Mac myself, and usually it works fine. So if somebody is seeing too much resource usage, please get in touch with support, and we can take a look at logs and things and see what's going on there.
Okay. 네, 뭐 결과적으로 이제 리소스는 대부분이 이제 호스트에서 리소스가 이제 사용이 되는 것이고, 게스트에서는 최소한의 리소스 이제 브라우저나 연결해서 이제 인풋만 주는 리소스만 사용이 되는 것 같은데요. 경험상 뭐 맷도 맥을 쓰고 있지만 특별하게 렉이 많이 걸리거나 그런 경험은 많이 하진 않았다고 하네요. 네, 이런 정도가 답변이 될 수 있을지 모르겠고, 또 만약에 리소스 사용에 대한 이슈가 있으시면 JetBrains 서포트 팀이나 이제 당구 소프트로 이제 문의를 주시거나 해주시면 또 로그 디테일 등을 좀 확인해서 지원을 추가적으로 드릴 수 있으니까요. 문제가 생긴다면 연락을 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 다음 질문으로 진행해 보겠습니다. 물론 경우에 따라 다르긴 하겠지만 대략의 트래픽 양을 알 수 있을까요? 좀 질문이 어려울 것 같은데 질문을 한번 해보도록 하겠습니다. So next question is there any way that I can be aware of the traffic usage status of Code With Me, or at least a rough kind of idea around the traffic usage? No.
Well, I'll jump in. We do have some internal tools that show this. I'm not sure if they are available. Normally, it shows the amount of traffic and the ping rates and so on. I'm not familiar with whether they are available as a public thing. Perhaps Gyulnara knows that offhand.
What comes up?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
What? Sorry.
What comes please go ahead.
There's third-party tools where you can figure out the traffics from your laptop or client. So maybe using those kind of third-party tools will help, I think.
Yeah.
We have a counter in the footer of the host window that can and guest window as well, that shows the connection type, is it TCP or direct, and so on, and ping and speed, but not amount of traffics in bytes and so on, because it can be huge. Of well, just to track traffic volumes was not among our goals, but the speed and ping can be found in the footer.
네, 뭐 잠깐 얘기를 저희끼리 좀 나눴지만 트래픽 양은 사실 알 수 있는 건 없는 것 같고요. 일단은 외부 툴들 중에 뭐 찾아보시면 그 본인이 지금 사용하고 있는 트래픽 양들을 확인할 수 있는 그런 툴들이 있을 것 같고요. 또 이제 푸터 하단에 이제 그 보면 커넥션 유형을 알 수는 있대요. 그렇지만 결과적으로는 트래픽 용량 체크는 하지 않는 것으로 확인됩니다.
Can I add a little something to that one as well? Is
Please.
that the protocol is designed to be lightweight. We try and pass over a small amount of information, just enough to be able to show the user interface. However, you're also passing over files as well, so there can still be a lot of traffic. If you're making a lot of edits, then a lot of traffic can happen there. But the idea is to try and keep it lightweight.
Okay. 네, 결국에는 이제 트래픽이 이제 많을 수 있지만 결과적으로 이제 코드 위드 미는 최소한의 트래픽만 사용하도록 최대한 개발이 되어 있다고 말씀해 주셨습니다. 네. 다른 또 질문들로 넘어가 볼까요? 잠시만요. We'll just take some other questions. 더 질문이 있으시면 올려주셔도 됩니다. 지금 시간이 한 5분 정도 남았는데요. 뭐 이렇게 그 jetbrain 분들이랑 이제 소통하는 게 매번 있을 수 있는 건 아니니까요. 저희가 최대한 많이 이런 경험들을 하실 수 있도록 준비는 해드리는데요. 지금 많이 남겨주시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 네. Yeah, we'll just take some other questions here. 인텔리제와 인텔리제 간에서도 연결해서 협업이 되나요? 이렇게 좀 단순한 질문을 해주신 분이 있는데요. So next question I want to ask is, I guess that the user, no. Can we collaborate between Intellij Idea and Intellij Idea? connecting them together? Well, very obvious question. Anyone want to answer?
Sure, I'll jump in again. The quick answer is no. It requires a Code With Me client. It's not possible to use Intellij Idea as the client because the technology that Code With Me is built on requires a specific version of the client. The host and the client have to match. Also, the sort of user experience of doing that wouldn't necessarily work well. You'd have to close the current project you're working in to be able to open the shared project. And we also, more importantly, we don't want to have to have an IDE installed. It's much easier for everybody just to get the current version of the client and work with that.
네, 뭐 당연히 이제 코드 위드 미라는 클라이언트가 있어야만 인텔리지 아이디어와 인텔리지 아이디어로 연결할 수 있는 겁니다. 호스트 쪽으로. 개념이 좀 다른데 이제 질문자분께서는 인텔리지 아이디어와 인텔리지 아이디어를 연결할 수 있냐라고 하셨는데 그렇게 양쪽 다 연결되는 개념은 아니고 호스트가 있고 게스트가 있어서 한쪽에 호스트가 코드 위드 미를 설치를 해야 되는 상황이고 거기에서 이제 그 연결을 해서 호스트 PC가 작동을 하고 아까도 리소스 얘기했듯이 리소스가 이제 소요되고 그런 형태입니다. 그리고 네. 그래서 이제 방금 매시 얘기한 거는 이렇게 이런 IDE 간의 충돌도 없어야 되고 또 기존에 하던 프로젝트를 또 다시 열어야 되는 번거로움, 다른 연결하고 싶은 프로젝트를 또 다시 열어야 되는 번거로움도 없어야 된다고 생각을 했기 때문에 이런 방식으로 개발이 되었다고 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 네. 질문이 또 좋은 게 혹시 들어왔는지 잠시 볼게요. 네. 페어 프로그래밍을 잘하는 방법론 같은 게 있을까요? 라고 질문해 주셨습니다. Next question, we only have about a minute left. Do you have any tips for how to pair programming effectively and better?
Sure. So I would say the best thing is to communicate. If you're working together, you need to understand what everybody is doing. So talking about the problem and the solution is really important. And that's kind of why we put the audio and video chat into Code With Me. I would also say that you should take it in turns. Don't let just one person do all the work. So, swap. One person types, the other person types, and so on. This is really important when you're sitting together with one keyboard, but Code With Me allows you to do things differently. So you can actually, one person can be typing, writing some code, and another person can type at the same time and write tests. So make sure you swap, make sure you do different roles and different things.
네, 좀 요약을 드리자면, 최선의 이제 방법은 소통을 많이 하는 거다라고 말씀해 주셨어요. 결국에는 사람과 사람이기 때문에 그 상대방이 고민을 하고 있는 게 뭔지, 해결을 해야 되는 게 뭔지, 그리고 내가 해야 되는 게 뭔지, 이런 거를 서로 소통을 많이 해야 된다라는 거고요. 그렇기 때문에 이제 코드 위드 미의 보이스 챗이라고 이제 기능이 소통할 수 있는 기능이 추가적으로 들어가 있는 거라고 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 그리고 또한 이제 작업도 예를 들어서 한 장비가 있으면은 키보드가 하나이기 때문에 이걸 쳐주고 다음 사람이 와서 쳐주고 하는 이제 직렬 형태의 일을 해야 되는데 병렬 형태로 일을 할 수 있는 그런 환경이 되기 때문에 코드 위드 미에서는 그래서 어떤 롤 베이스로 예를 들어서 아까 맷 분이 얘기해 주셨는데 프로그래밍 언어를 이렇게 코드를 짜고 누구는 이제 테스트를 짜고 이런 식으로 한 프로젝트지만 좀 다른 롤을 가지고 해주시는 게 또 좋은 방법이 아닐까 이렇게 조언을 해주셨습니다. 밑으로 내려가 볼게요. 저희가 진행을 해도 되는지 한번 여쭤볼게요. 네, 좋은 질문을 네. 마켓 개발자나 마케터가 생각하는 이거 말고 인텔리제이 얼티밋에서 사용 가능한 건가요? 따로 구매를 해야 하는 건가요? 혹시 커뮤니티 버전에서도 사용 가능한 건가요? 라고 질문을 해주셨습니다. 이건 답변을 또 채팅창에 했다고 하시네요. 네, 제가 아는 선에서는 so the question is can you use Code With Me in Intellij Idea Ultimate Edition? And do you have to purchase it separately? And the next following question is, can you use Code With Me with the community edition of Intellij Idea?
Can I ask?
Yes.
Or can I answer?
Yes.
Well, I'm trying to be very quick here. If you have subscription for the Ultimate, Code With Me is included by default in your subscription, and I'm referring to Premium Edition, which means like no time limits, and you can invite up to 50 guests. And if you are using community version, you still have access to Code With Me, but that will be Code With Me community, and you can invite up to 3 guests to a session, and the session has some time limits of 30 minutes. But if in case you are a host and you invite someone who has another different edition, what matters is which type of subscription the host has. So if you have IDEA Ultimate, it means that you can run session almost unlimited. So feel free to do this.
네, 이제 커뮤니티 버전에서는 사용할 수 있지만 이제 무료로 3명까지 이제 초대 가능하고 세션 기간이 이제 30분이라는 게 좀 제약사항은 있지만 일단 가볍게 사용을 해보실 수 있고요. 호스트가 이제 에디션 구매를 해야 되는 거고, 그러니까 구매는 호스트만 하면 되는 거고 게스트는 하지 않아도 된다라고 이해하시면 되겠습니다. 상세한 내용들은 또 코드 위드 미 그 홈페이지에 구매 옵션에 대해서 또 자세히 나와 있으니까요. 그리고 저기 운영자분이 또 채팅창에 답변을 드렸다고 하니까 그 답변들 참고해 보시면 되겠습니다. 오늘 좀 시간이 좀 초과가 됐는데요. 네, 마지막 인사를 좀 나눠야 될 것 같습니다. So we just took our last question. We'll have to say goodbye to all the audiences. I'll give you some time to say your last words to Korean audiences. Matt, do you have any words to share?
Well, thank you for watching. The Code With Me is bundled with your IDE. Click the button, give it a go. Thank you.
네, 코드 위드 미 이제 여러분들이 사용하는 IDE와 같이 이제 번들로 나오니까 한번 좀 트라이 해보라고 말씀해 주셨습니다. Gyulnara, last words?
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. And if you have any technical questions, please feel free to contact us by the email that should be visible in the chat. And once again, try Code With Me. Feel free to.
네, 잠깐 연결이 어떻게 됐는데. 네, 그 인사를 해주시고 바로 연결이 좀 끊긴 것 같은데. 네, 그 채팅 쪽에 이제 연락처가 있으니까 기술 지원이 필요하신 분은 언제든지 연락을 달라고 해주셨습니다. Ekaterina?
Yeah, just like a few words. Thanks everyone for watching. Follow us in social media, and please feel free to contact us if you have any questions.
네, 언제든 소셜미디어 팔로우 많이 해주시고 필요한 게 있을 때 연락을 달라고 해주셨습니다. 그럼 오늘 이렇게 세션을 마치도록 하겠습니다. 많이 참석해 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다. 다음번 또 좋은 컨텐츠로 준비해서 돌아오도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 바이바이.